Hi, I'm Chelsea Floyd, and I like Progress Texas because it's honest, up to date, and it's current. It's there for me.
And you just said you listen every day.
Yes, I've had a lot of catching up to do because I was a little late to the party, but we are here for it.
It's Friday, May 22nd, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Progress Texas amplifies progressive values, leaders, and actions through our no paywall podcasts and digital media. We reach millions of Texans monthly, and that's made possible by folks like you who invest in independent progressive media by Texans for Texans. Thanks to Carrie White, Macy Burns, and Jenny Laughlin for their ongoing sustaining support. We really appreciate it. I love voting, and I know it's not this simple, but I think a lot about how different things would be in Texas if a lot more of us discovered the simple joy of using our voice and actually being the boss for a second. It all comes down to the voters, and far too many of us simply don't bother. Again, yes, I know it's not that simple, and we'll get to that. As a person who discovered the sheer fun of voting at 18 and has enjoyed that privilege ever since, it's really too bad that more people don't see it as a truly enjoyable thing to do. Today is the last day of early voting in the 2026 midterm primary runoff. Beyond this evening, only Election Day on Tuesday the 26th remains. There are local runoffs coming up in early June, but the primary runoff is your last chance to impose your will on the bigger picture situation before the November midterm election. As we seem to say every time, the most important election of our lifetimes, but this time it really does feel that way. Any questions about voting? We've done our best to provide those answers at the website govotetexas.org. The frustrating and complex topic of why Texans don't vote is covered really well on the newest episode of Houston Public Media's Party Politics Show, which is hosted by University of Houston political science professors Brandon Rottinghouse and Geronimo Cortina. A fun watch, linked in the show notes, on how Texas's persistently low voter turnout isn't purely about lack of interest. A combination of systemic barriers and structural rules complicate and exacerbate voter apathy across cycles in our state. Texas routinely ranks near the bottom nationally for voter participation, especially during most midterms and definitely with municipal elections. Ironically, those put in place the people who make the most direct calls on our personal day-to-day lives. Rottinghouse and Cortina go over those barriers. Texas requires advanced voter registration and tends to serve up lengthy, complicated ballots, which raises the transactional costs of voting for people with limited time and resources, and by design, makes the process as painful as possible, which renders our low turnout tendencies in Texas even less a surprise. Making voting easier and ensuring security are not mutually exclusive. A lot of great ideas presented, including enacting an Election Day holiday, in this great talk from Houston Public Media. It's in the show notes right now. The all-out bloodbath between Ken Paxton and John Cornyn that's persisted for months now has the potential to have severely divided the Texas Republican voting base, to the delight of Democrats and progressive Texans, but to the great consternation of Texas Republican Party Chair Abraham George. Joseph Morton at the Dallas Morning News says George has issued an urgent plea for both of these campaigns to halt the internal political warfare. He worries that the intense bloodletting is exhausting the party's resources and damaging any chance of base unity for the GOP ahead of the general. Morton provides the greatest hits of the crazy ads these two supposed ideological colleagues have leveled against each other, and it's all here: adultery, ethics scandals, fabricated vacation attacks, bizarre AI-generated videos, and underlying it all, fierce and fiery exchanges over which of these two grown-ass men most genuinely and passionately worships the every whim of one Donald J. Trump. Personally, I'd say this is no time for weakness. Guys, you've come this far and fought this hard. You've got 4 days left and lots of money to spare. Let's see your real best shot over Memorial Day weekend. We've talked about the rising conversation around black college athletes and the outsized potential political power they wield as a group, especially those attending the flagship universities of southern states whose Republican elected leaders are now actively engaged in a wanton dismantling of black voting power via redistricting. Many would argue that the South and Texas are two different things, but UT Austin and Texas A&M are officially part of the powerhouse Southeastern Conference. And Marley Malenfant at the Austin American Statesman says the SEC is in the bullseye of the NAACP's Out of Bounds campaign, which urges black collegiate athletes to reconsider playing for 13 major high-revenue sports programs, including Texas and Texas A&M, across 8 southern states, including Texas. This initiative encourages top recruits to delay commitments to these southern schools and advises current players to use their platforms to challenge university leadership or consider the transfer portal. These universities profit immensely from black athletic talent, while their state lawmakers embrace policies that suppress black political power and voting rights. The 2026 version of the exploitation of black labor for profit that reverberates deeply into the history of the American South. As we've talked about, it's not an easy call for the individual athlete, but there's also no denying the strength in their numbers at this crucial moment. A combination of factors are contributing to a dismal forecast for public education in Texas, between the immigration crackdown of Trump and Governor Greg Abbott to Abbott's bought and paid for private school voucher scam. Texas public ed is on the ropes, and the numbers are scary. Devin Clark at KPRC TV in Houston says new analyses of Texas Education Agency data reveal a Texas public school enrollment drop of over 76,000 students during the just completed 2025 to 26 school year, with Hispanic students accounting for a staggering 81% of that decline. A complex mix of housing instability, alternative schooling options, and political tensions have piled up here. Cesar Espinoza of FIEL Houston says a great many immigrant families are fleeing Texas for friendlier states, and who can blame them? As we well know, in Texas, school funding is directly tied to student enrollment and attendance. So indeed, this trend presents a present and escalating threat to the future of public education in our state. And to elaborate on that, we direct you to a deep dive on private school vouchers and how they threaten to divide the entire country's kids between 2 separate school systems from the New York Times. They say a lot of what we've been saying for years about voucher programs. Their rapid expansion across multiple states has more than doubled participation over the last 5 years to 1.5 million students, primarily fueled by Republican-led states like Texas implementing them. But the numbers show this surge is not expanding opportunity. As was always evident and inevitable, private school vouchers are developing into a massive public subsidy for wealthy families, as private school enrollment has not significantly grown over the span of time, meaning most voucher recipients were already students at private schools, which, let's recall, started in the 1950s as a way for white families to evade desegregation. Texas is just getting started this year, but Florida, for example, has thus far diverted nearly a quarter of its statewide K-12 budget to private institutions. Public schools are being rendered underfunded institutions of last resort, while private schools are draining public coffers while remaining largely unregulated. Even while taking public money, they still retain the right to discriminate against students based on disability, gender, sexual orientation, grades, or any other reason they choose. This is all happening before our eyes, all directly from the Republicans, who will continue to dominate Texas unless we get serious about voting. Again, today's the last day to vote early in the 2026 midterm primary election. After today, only Election Day on Tuesday the 26th remains. GoVoteTexas.org for everything you need to know about voting in Texas. Make a plan and commit to getting it done today. Runoff turnout is low. Chances are you can get it done in just a few minutes. Voting is fun once again, so let's go right now. At Progress Texas, we're gearing up for our 16th anniversary celebration in Dallas. Save the date. It's Tuesday, June 16th. And see the link in the show notes to reserve your spot. Our good friends Howard Cleon, Charles Zeller, Alex Andrade, the Honorable Dick Levine, Nancy Sanders, Mark Melton, Sarah Peretta and Jason Smith, the Honorable Allison Grinter Allen, Dave Jones, the Northeast Travis County Democrats, the Honorable Bill Peterson, the Honorable Adam Swartz, Mark Yagin, John Adair, Julie Evans, the Lake Travis Democrats, Jenny Laughlin, Texas Blue Media, the Honorable Jeremy Sutka, and Mike Ware, all among the supporters of our 16th anniversary shindig. We appreciate all of you very much. Our live events are a major way we keep doing what we do at Progress Texas, and by sponsoring and attending our live events, you're helping us continue our important work during this crucial election year. Learn how to support and to join us live at ProgressTexas.org. And while you're at the website, snag the merch to match your values at our web store. It's live and ready for you now with newly released Humans Against Abbott, Y'all Means All, and our very popular Resist shirts, stickers, and buttons. Hit the website web store at progresstexas.org to support your favorite podcast network today. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Friday, May 22nd, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. When lies in Texas are well funded by the far right, your support for fact-based reporting is needed and appreciated. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and a great Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you again here on Tuesday.